Okay, welcome back. There are a couple things totally that I forgot. The first one is that oh, wrong one. When I look at this and run it, and I bring it over to you. Whoa, let me just bring this down. It's really small. Okay, it's really small. We can make it bigger. Also, I misspelled control. Okay, so I misspelled that, and also I forgot to put in the header. So let me start there. Let me just go ahead and open the last one. And right here, this is the last one, index 1.8a. I'm just going to copy this guy right here, Control C, close it, and then dump it right back in here. Okay, just to keep record of it. And the date has changed. And you'll have the real date. And all this is form controls. But right now we're doing, the topic here is an input range type. Now, you'll notice that we don't have a form. This is all by itself, okay? Also, if I go, oh, I want to clean up, let's say I'm over at some part of the other part of the program, and I go right mouse button, click Format Document, it totally takes away the formatting that I had. That's just one of the things it does. So I'm gonna put it like this, as I would suggest you do, and not worry about that yet. Now, so and you have a good idea what all this is from the video, from the previous video. So I got this in here. Let me spell check this, Control, and I also forgot the document, right? The document, and this is input for range control. So we're just using it as a control without the and we're going to go in and grab those values. Okay, so the first part is I want to put an output down here at the bottom. And this is going to be really simple. So after my input, I'm going to put a couple breaks. BR, well, let me line up. BR, enter, BR, enter. So a couple breaks, and an input, enter, and the type will be text. The ID will be output, OUT, PUT, and actually I've been playing around with size, and in this case it's so odd because it doesn't always work, which is weird. So I'm going to put a size of 4, and I'm just going to leave the value open. VALUE equals. I'm just going to leave the value open. Okay, nothing in it. Now here, let me do the same thing with this. Now I think of it, just so you can see it, and I can make it really big so you can all see it, and the size. I'm just drawing it out. And the last one, I'm going to put a placeholder, PLACEHOLDER, and I'm going to call this placeholder output, OUT, PUT. Now I have an input, and I have an input type text and an input type range. And we'll see again is like when I display this for you, so you don't have to. That looks okay, but it's still a bit out small. Okay, so we're going to use something we learned before. Let me take out that space there. So without automatic formatting, I have to do all this personally, directly. So after the title, okay, I'm going to put in a style, STYLE, enter, and I'm going to select all inputs, right? So INPUT, enter, no, the wrong one, INTUP, and then we're in CSS, sorry. And I'm going to say the font size, SIZE, colon, is going to be 4 EMs, all right, pretty big, semicolon. And then I'm going to say the background color is going to be light gray, light GREY. Okay, semicolon. Okay, so that'll take care of all inputs, but I want to make the one that is the range, I want to widen it out. Okay, so I want to make it really big. So how do I select this input with that type. Remember how we did that? So let me do that right here, and I'm going to go input, and this time I'm going to use the attribute selector, type equals quote range. So that'll just pick out that one, and with that I'm going to make its width, say width space colon, to be about 50% of the main screen. 50%. Can't have a space. Oh, that's 60. 50, 0%. Okay, semicolon. Semicolon. Okay, so in this case, it still will be fonts. The cascading part of CSS will still make this input font size 4EM and a color of light gray, but specifically on the one that selects the type range with 50%. Okay, so with that said, let's see what it looks like, because I think it should be a bit bigger. Yeah, that's kind of bigger. Now, here we are, and I can move this around. Notice it starts off with a notice it starts off with a value of 200. So you can see that right down here, 200. And I move it, and okay, I suppose I'm changing it, and I'm incrementing in steps of 20. So I want to get this output to reflect that, okay? So I'm going to add 2 lines of code, and then I'll come back in the next video and explain it. But let me go ahead and add those 2 lines of code right here now. So another attribute is I'm going to pick an event on change. That is, when anything changes in there, I'm going to run a function, update range. This is capital R-A-N-G-E. I'm just creating that one. And I'm going to give it a value, an attribute of this, where the value is. We're inside this tag, so it's this, what? This value, V-A-L-U-E. And I'll close that parentheses. And because this is a JavaScript call, I have to put a semicolon at the end of it. So I have, when this guy changes, this line 27 changes, it will, every time it changes, it will go up here and run this function that I've put up. All right, that's part of this. So now up in the head of the document, all right, after the style, I will write our first JavaScript code, S-C-R-I-P-T. That's the HTML, and inside this will be JavaScript. So I'm going to create a function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N equals, and which one was it? Update range, U-P-D-A-T-E, capital R-A-N-G-E. And I'm going to pick some value, some variable name that I can use inside my function. And I'm just going to call it val, all right? And then I will give the block code, and inside this block code will be what I use to do whatever this function does. So I'm going to call on the document object, D-O-C-U-M-E-N-T, which is the website. Then I'm going to run the method get element by ID, G-E-T, lower G-E-T, E-L-E-M-E-N-T, get element by ID. Now the capitalization has to be direct, as this is a method. It's in camel case. It's got 3 humps. And what am I going to get? So I'm going to get an element that has an ID of output, O-U-T-P-U-T, okay? And I'm going to grab it, and then in the value, V-A-L-U-E, of this, I'm going to assign it the val that I gave this function to. So I will come back in the next video and detail exactly what this is doing. But let's just show you what it is, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so here it is. And when I move this, it updates. So if I use the mouse and it goes up 20, each time, because that's my step, up to 1,000. And I can go all the way down. That minuses it down to 0. Now I will go through one more time, one really short video that follows that will explain what's going on in detail, because a lot's going on, a lot of new terms that were lightly introduced. So I'll see you then, next video.